Thank you. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the ClickMate quarterly product webinar. I'm glad you're here today. There's a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. Quick intro before we dive in. My name is EJ Mina. I'm a product manager here at ClickMate. I've been working in the CMMS space since 2016, and I lead product development and feature planning here at the company. My experience, I've had the chance to travel all over the world doing on-site audits, so I've got to meet all of our amazing customers just like you. Um, I'm joined by Mel Motosh, our product enablement manager. Mel has over 10 years in CMMS and asset management experience. She's personally trained thousands of maintenance technicians and facility leaders. So if you have any questions about getting your team up and running on any of this, Mel will be your person. For anyone who's new to ClickMate, we're headquartered here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Our leadership team brings over 40 years of combined experience in the CMMS space. We are a web-based and mobile CMMS. Your data is hosted securely in Canada and the US on AWS. We're consistently recognized for ease of use, fast time to value, and very strong customer support, which is really what we've built the product around. If you're an existing customer, you already know this. If you're evaluating us, that's a lens that we want you to keep in mind as we walk through what's new today. Here's a quick look at the agenda and what we'll cover today. We'll kick things off by looking at two major new features that we've launched this past quarter, that we are launching this quarter. Parts reconciliation and cost updates, and data imports. Then I'll highlight some key enhancements that we've already shipped. And after that, I'm going to give you a preview of some more cool things that are next on our roadmap. And then we'll wrap up with Q&A. As I mentioned before, if we don't get to your question live, we'll follow up with you after the session. But please throw in any questions you might have into the Q&A box there. All right, so diving right in. First up, we're going to talk about parts reconciliation and cost updates. If your team does any physical inventory counting, you know this pain. You'll walk the storeroom, count what's on the shelf, and the number doesn't match what the system says. Maybe you had a part that was used on a job and nobody logged it. Maybe there was a receiving error. Whatever your reason is, your system and reality are not in sync with each other. So before this new feature that I'll present shortly, there was no really clean or easy way to fix that. You can also easily update your parts costs when you had your prices change from your suppliers, which might mean like your maintenance cost reports were potentially off without you even knowing it. So what we built, and we'll present shortly, it solves both problems in one place. You can now reconcile your physical count against what's in the system and update part costs with a dedicated tool that logs every change permanently. So who made it, when, and why. You have accurate numbers going forward and a very clean and transparent record of how you got there. So we're going to jump into an interactive demo here. I'm going to switch over to my ClickMate web dashboard. Oh, I'm a couple places too far ahead. Let me exit out of this. That's coming up next. All right, so when you log in, you'll start at the work orders page, but you want to navigate over to the inventory and parts module. And let's open up a part that I'm currently tracking inventory on. So we'll look at this deep groove ball bearing. Let's say that we just did a physical count. So right now in the system, it says on hand 28. We did a physical count and the number doesn't match, what we see here. So we've now added a reconcile button. So if you look up top, you can hit this reconcile button and then it's going to open up a modal. And inside of this modal, it'll show you what you currently have on hand. And then as you make an adjustment, let's say that we're short by 3 units, it'll update here in real time, just telling you, what your new proposed quantity is. You can adjust both in the negative, or if you happen to find more, you can adjust in the positive. And when you do make the adjustment, you are required to add a note for why you have you know, a change in the number. So let's say that I have three less. We can do something like physical is less. And then down below here, as you know, all across our system, you can add attachments like images or files. Maybe you have like the reconciliation or count sheet or even just a photo that you want to have on file to document that you're making the part change, quantity change cost, quantity change. So now that I have that entry there, we can just hit submit. All right. So confirmation here that the part was updated successfully. You can see now that I have 25 on hand. If I scroll down below, if you're already using parts in our system, you can see that we've added some new types to our transaction history table. This is where you get that full audit of what's been going on with your parts. Here I have a new line for reconciled, and we're recording, when it happened, exactly to the time, the quantity, the person who did it, and then if you hover over, you can click on it and it'll show you the details of that reconciliation. So this helps you have a clean audit trail every time. This is just, very familiar with what you've been using before, but now we've got the reconciliation transaction in the event you need to quickly update your numbers. We're super happy we released this. It's something that people have been asking for, so we're very excited to get it into your hands. I did also mention cost updates, so that's another big one. So you'll notice up here, you have unit cost and average unit cost. So unit cost is the current price that you pay to purchase this part. So if I'm going to restock, that's the number that I use from my supplier. And average unit cost, this is a different number. This is what the system uses each time that you are using it on the work order. And how we calculate this number is through the weighted average every time that you restock. So up until now, you weren't able to modify these numbers, but now with this new change we're releasing, you can quickly go ahead and just update them accordingly. So we'll do that now. So this part, usually purchase it for $9. Let's say that my supplier has updated their cost. Maybe it's $9.50. Notes are not mandatory here. You could also attach images if you like or files. But when I hit submit, now we also have that transaction here that shows you the updated cost. Click on it, and then you can see the full details of notes, who did it, and then date time as well too. And same idea for average unit cost, very simple. So this is the number that's being used moving forward every time like I use parts on a work order. But if I just want to change that number, I can click the edit button and then we can go here as well. So let's say that my new average unit cost, I want to just switch it to 850, hit submit. And that'll become the new baseline. Um, the system will continue to recalculate when you do new restock. So if I restock again and add a different number, the average unit cost will be different. But at any point, you can just override what that average unit cost is moving forward. That'll give you more control by also giving you visibility on exactly what was changed in your system. So very simple features here, very simple enhancements, but also a lot in terms of saving you time and making life easier. Before we move on to the data imports, I just want to highlight a couple other things that we've updated with our parts module. So I'm going to go over to the reports and KPIs section. So we do have a report on parts usage. So I'll select the part from here, report from here, and we'll go to parts usage. So up until recently, when you were looking at this report, you really just had to export the data. But now we've made the rows interactive. So if you're someone, who's reading the report, but maybe you want to tap into more about that specific part, You can now just hover over the name and you can quickly access the part details right from one click. Depending on your permissions, if you're an admin or limited admin, you can edit your part details here. If you're a technician or somebody else who doesn't have um, managed parts access, then you won't be able to do any changes here. But um, update here is that you can quickly just tap on the name. And then we've also made the other reports, like the asset cost and downtime, updatable. So here, if I just want to know more about my asset while reading the asset cost and downtime report, I can just click on the name. And then also for the work order reports, probably where it's also very handy. For any work order reports where you have like the name listed, the title, you can go ahead and just click on it. And then you can quickly access the details of that work order. Maybe you need to make some changes here, parts usage, time, things like that. Um, a lot faster to edit any data you need to and see any data. And the other thing I want to mention as well, this one hasn't been released, but should expect it just around the corner. It's how we handle parts management on work orders. So currently right now, if you're adding a part to a work order, let's say I pick my asset here. Right now, I have to look through my entire part list. I can search to make life easier, but what's really important to me is that I want to be able just to find the part that's actually associated to the asset. So we're in the middle of testing this feature, but when you create a work order, I'm just in my test environment here. If you pick your asset, if you do have parts associated to the asset, when you get to the point of adding the part, you can see now that we've segmented the list to be two things. You have parts connected with your asset or other parts not associated with the asset. You can still search. So maybe you do have a lot of parts associated with the asset. You can type it in there. But this will hopefully give you, a much easier time just getting the parts that are important for the work order added. So this will be coming soon, also available on mobile when we release it, but just a couple enhancements to help improve your workflow. All right, so that's it for parts updates. We're going to move on to our next feature, data imports. So getting your data into a new system has always been the hardest part of any new software rollout, whether you're migrating from a spreadsheet or you're switching from another CMMS, or maybe you're just, standing up a new entity into a system with more data. It takes a while to enter in like hundreds of assets, parts, locations. Of course, we have our support team available here, an onboarding team. But if you're doing, everything one by one, it can be very manual and time delaying. So we've added a new feature for data import. You can bulk import all your data at once. We have 7 different types. We do data imports for assets, locations, parts, vendors, work orders, PM schedules, and procedures. Our data import also has AI behind it. So if you don't have the cleanest data, or maybe things don't really correspond to some of the fields in your system, our AI will parse that out and help you out. I'll show you that in just a bit. Um, End result, hopefully you have no bad records and you're onboarded in just mere minutes. So let's go on to the demo here. So I'm going to go into the dashboard. Now, important to note that our data import is accessible under admin settings. So what that means for you is the person who's going to be doing your data imports for your system, you do have to grant them the admin role. That's going to give them access to the import data page. All right, so here's all the data types that you can import. Again, locations, vendors, assets, parts, work orders, procedures, and PMs. You are also seeing work orders here on my screen. Right now, this is reserved for just our internal staff to help you out with. The reason here is that there's some prerequisites for importing work orders. For example, you probably want your locations entered or your assets entered or your vendors entered, especially if you're recording work order history. So we can help you out with that to, help your work order import be more seamless. Please reach out to us if you have any history that you want to import before trying to, I guess, import the data into your system. But for today, let's say I just want to bulk import parts into our inventory. So what we'll do here, I'm going to click on the parts item. This is going to open up our upload window. And the first thing I'm going to do with a brand new import is download a template. So this template that I'm downloading, it's a CSV pre-formatted. It has all of the right column headers that we use in our system. So you know exactly what fields are available. You can open this up in your spreadsheet editor like Google Sheets or Excel, or whatever you prefer. But you are also able to use your own spreadsheet. And as I mentioned, our AI system will try and match those columns up accordingly. So what I'll do, I'm going to hop into Google Sheets here. All right, so this is what the import sheet will look like. You can see here, I have like entity name, part name, description, non-stock part. I won't name all of them, but these are essentially all of the same fields that you see when you're creating a part manually in the system. What I did mention is if you have your own sheet, for example, maybe I'm coming from another CMMS where they use the word like facility instead of entity, or maybe instead of like description, it's description of part, or maybe instead of part name, it's name. We can try and just import this as is, and then we'll use the importer to um, just match those up rather than having to like reformat column headers and things like that. So I'm just going to update, I'm going to import two parts. You can see I have two entities in my enterprise, the Minnesota and Johnson facility. I'll do a ball bearing and then I'll do a roller bearing. I've got things like quantity on hand here. I've got, where they're stored, part types. And then just for simplicity today, I'm not going to add every single field here, like, vendors and assets, but you can add those as well as QR codes as well. So let me download this here. All right. And then we're going to go back to click Maint. Let me just hit refresh. All right. So click parts and I'll hit the choose a file button. I'm going to pick one from my desktop. All right. So the first thing it'll do, it's going to try and attempt to match up the headers. So anything that has a green check mark, and I'll make this bigger so everybody can see. It found the match because they're exact column names, right? But I had description of part as one column name, didn't find it. So it's suggesting description. That's a very simple match. Um, if you have something really different, like details or information, if it doesn't find it, then you can just manually select what column it belongs to. You can see here that it didn't match up facility name to entity name. So I'm just going to go ahead and click entity name. And what you want to do here is look through the entire list to make sure that you have a match for everything. And then you can click confirm matching and continue. All right. So now that we have all our column headers matched, the next thing that we're going to do is bulk fix the data. So it's going to try and use AI to automatically clean your data where possible. So here it's looking at what are some values in your sheet. So I don't have an each unit of measure in my system, but what I do have is a piece. That's like the unit associated with it. So I can match that. And then storeroom. So I had one part on my sheet that said this is located in my main storeroom. That main storeroom is already set up in the system. But then I had the other part that is not in a storeroom in my system. So I had it in the garage. So it doesn't match up to anything. From this screen, I can add the storeroom on the fly. I can also do it on the next screen, and I'll do it there just to show you what that experience looks like. But the whole idea here is that it's automatically just going to match the data so you don't have to clean it up on the spreadsheet view. Um, my names of my my entities are not exact. I forgot that I renamed my Minnesota facility to Richardson, so that's doing the match there. We'll click continue. So this is the review and edit screen, and this is interactive. Maybe you forgot to add in another part. So maybe, you know, someone says, hey, add that flapper into the system. So I can just say like blue flapper, and then this is for like all toilets, right? And then I can say we have like 50 of them. So on the fly creation, for the rows that I've entered into the system, let me just get rid of this one because that was on one create on the fly. So you want to look through here and just make sure that you don't have any errors. Everything in white cells means that they're good to go. Here, you'll notice that this is yellow. So I talked about if I don't have the storeroom created, or maybe I don't have the part type created, it'll allow you to actually create those objects on the fly. The one thing you might run into, let's say you don't have your asset in the system. If you have like toilet, if that toilet doesn't exist in the system yet, it won't be able to import it. So we have the suggested order of imports on that screen. You saw that locations and assets were recommended prerequisites for it. So we do recommend do that before you tackle on the parts import or something that's afterwards. So now what we'll do next, we'll go ahead and just click finish. Click yes. All right. So the import processed, I've got a message here at the bottom. It says import successful. Depending on how many um, rows you're doing, if you're doing like 500 rows or 250 rows, you can just open up another module in another tab and let just this run into the background. You check back in a couple minutes and go to your inventory page or whichever module you're importing to, you'll see your list updated. So I completely forgot the two parts that we imported. Which ones? 0AB ball bearing. Let me click refresh. And I think that was in the other facility. Yep, okay, there we go. So it's been imported with the quantity that I mentioned, storeroom as well. And then if I wanted to just go from here and associate it to the right asset. So I think this entity doesn't have any assets in it. So let me just pivot back. We'll just click on one of these guys, this flapper, put edit, and yeah, you can see that I've already associated it to a couple assets. Not shouldn't be associated to a fire extinguisher. My flappers to my toilet. So um, yeah, as I mentioned, the order for importing your data looks like this. We suggest get your locations in. We then suggest your vendors. And the reason why is because you might have vendors associated with your assets. If you create a work order and it's for, let's say, your fire extinguishers or your CO2 alarms, and that has to go out externally. Maybe you've set up the system to submit to send an email to the vendors who are associated to that work order. By doing the association of assets to vendors, that's one thing that you can help to set up your system. And then for parts, as I mentioned, follow up that afterwards for locations, assets, and then procedures, PMs accordingly. All right, so that is data imports. Again, it's going to be found under admin settings and import data. In terms of feature releases, so when these things will go live, data imports is live right now. So if you're logged in after this call, go straight to where I mentioned to admin settings, import data, start using it. Parts reconciliation and cost updates. We're going to be turning that on immediately after this webinar, probably at the top of the hour when we get out of here. And then if you have any trouble finding either feature, or if you have questions or a walkthrough, you can reach out to your CSM and they'll help you get you sorted out. All right, so additional enhancements that we've released over the past quarter. Floor plans. So I know there was a question about floor plans here earlier. I'm not opening up the QA yet to see if that was answered, but we will get to that a little bit later. Um, this new feature is an enhancement to the floor plan list page. So what this will do, it'll allow you to know which floor plans have active maintenance issues. Previously, you would have to open up each one, but we've added just some color changes to each of the buttons to tell you that there's activity happening on the specific floor plan. So if you see a red color, that'll mean you either have overdue or critical work orders or requests on that floor. If you have green, that means that you have active work orders, so nothing that's overdue, critical. Same for requests. And then if you have white button, that means there's no activity on there. So the whole idea with this is that, you get to this floor plan page, rather than having to click into each individual floor plan to see if there's activity, you don't have to drill in that far anymore. You can immediately see what's going on from this list page without having to dive in. This will hopefully save you a few minutes every day. Next feature. This is for our enterprise customers or anyone who wants to have, more convenient and secure sign-in. We all know that managing passwords across, different SaaS tools can be like a headache for your IT team, sometimes even a security risk. So what SSO allows you to do, just like your other apps that you use across your enterprise, it allow you to easily log into ClickMaint, the same way that they do for like their Google or their Entra ID accounts. So if you are using Entra ID, which is previously known as Azure Active Directory or Google Workspace, ClickMate has you covered. How this works is that your IT team will configure it once in admin settings. You can see here for my enterprise, I've turned on Google Workspace. From that point on, once you get your users into the system or change it over to use SSO, they'll be able to authenticate using their Google or Entra ID login. This will also allow you to continue using things like your multi-factor authentication. If that's, if I'm getting too technical here, that means when you sign in, it'll ask you to confirm like a 6-digit code with your phone or your email that comes with your SSO, and then any other access controls you've already set up on the other side. So overall goal with this, again, easier login, more streamlined, and also more security behind your ClickMaint system. If SSO is something that your team is interested in, please let us know. In the upcoming poll, we'll ask you that question, and then we'll reach out to you, give you more information on how to get started. And then another technical one, the last enhancement we'll cover today is the ClickMaint API. So we've been working on this for a while. Very happy to announce that this is ready to go. This is for customers who want to connect ClickMaint to the rest of their tech stack. So with this API, your IT team, or if you have like a systems integrator on staff, you'll be able to call our API and do things like pull maintenance data, like your work order data, into your analytics platform. If you're looking to, do more sophisticated reporting beyond what our system currently offers. If you need to do things like updates to your assets or maybe even your parts inventory, you'll be able to push that as well. And even just simple things, if you want to just create a work order from like a trigger, the external API will be your go-to. So how this works is also very easy. You can generate an API key just from the admin settings page. There is a page specifically called API keys. Your developer will then take that API key, put it into their integration tool, and then they'll be ready to go to build their integration. We have fully published API documentation, so this should be crystal clear if you're a developer, what routes you can call, what data you can get back. Of course, if you have any questions, please reach out to your CSM or support team. We have a really wonderful engineering team that can help answer these questions as well. All right, looking into the future, we have a lot of things going on. I'd love to give you a list of everything, but that would take a while. So here are some things I'd like to call out. These three are all actively in development, and they also represent some of the most common requests that we've heard. So the first one is sending status updates to requesters for work order updates. The scenario here is that, I'm a requester. I have submitted a request, but I'm not really getting any. I'm getting disconnected from the portion of which the time period when it got accepted to when it got completed. So now, if your request gets approved, we're actually going to update you throughout the work order timeline. So when the status changes for things like in progress or waiting for parts, or maybe it was closed or maybe it was reopened again, your requester won't be left out of the loop, and they'll get an email notification or push notification that their request is in progress with the work order. The second one is also another requester related feature. This is to allow the person who's assigned to the work order, whether this is your technician or someone else, to directly communicate with the requester right from the work order. The requester, how they'll respond with the system is they'll still be able to see the request. They'll be able to leave a comment, and that comment will also be copied over to the work order so that if I'm the technician and I just had a question about verifying maybe which room or maybe which part of the room needs the inspection, I can go onto the work order. I can send a message from the work order and it'll go to the requester. And then you can have that real-time two-way conversation. This is going to help things with like reducing back and forth email, phone tag, trying to hunt someone down, and hopefully you'll be able to resolve your work orders faster. And the last one is procedure attachments. So this will allow you to attach photos and documents directly to a procedure on a work order. And just to clarify how that's different from what we currently offer, what we currently have in our feature set. If I'm a technician and I'm viewing my procedure, I can attach images, I can attach files when I'm responding to them. What was missing is if I'm creating the template, I wasn't able to actually say, hey, please do this step by referring to this manual. So now as a person who's going to create the template for, I don't know, battery replacement for my fire or CO2 alarms, I can actually attach the manual, and then the technician will be able to open up the PDF or maybe just even refer to the image, make sure they're following it like to a T, and then they'll be able to complete the procedure accordingly. So a couple very handy enhancements and features here. We expect these to be released towards the end of this month. If any of these are high priority for your team, you want to check them out early, please let us know. We really value the input that you provide us, and it shapes, what we're going to work on next. So your feedback has a real impact on what we do over here. Okay, Q&A panel has been open for a while now. So what we're going to do is move on to answering some questions. We have about 10 minutes left here, so let's go through as many as we can. Again, if I don't get through all of them, we will respond back to you after the webinar, and I think Mel's also been answering them as well too. Okay, first question. Does reconciliation work on mobile? So currently we don't have a parts module on mobile, but happy to tell you that we're in the midst of planning what that feature will look like. So our goal is to have the same features on web on our mobile platform as well, except for things like exporting like CSVs. But we're working on adding, viewing parts, reconciling and restock from mobile, and as well making our QR code really handy. We want to be able to offer, parts management on mobile the same way that we do on web. So keep an eye out for that. We'll post as many updates as we can once we have something ready to use for our customers. What if I enter the wrong quantity during reconciliation? So I assume the question is if I reconcile with the wrong amount, let's say, I don't know, I entered less than three, and then someone says, "Oh, I found the part." You're not able to edit that reconciliation transaction. Again, we don't want to open it up where there's, confusion about data. So what you would simply do is just add another reconciliation and just say another -1 or +1, and then just state that this was a correction for the previous one. Uh, Import related question. Does the parts import replace data or I already have, or does it add to it? So when you do a parts import, it doesn't overwrite any existing data. It doesn't update any data either. It just creates a new one. So if you have 100 parts in your system and then you want to import, 100 more, it'll just add that new 100 to the list. Do I need to be an admin to run an import? Yep. So as mentioned, you need to be an admin. You need to go to your admin settings and import data page to make use of the import data page. We are starting out with that feature there. If you think you might have someone else in your system that wants to be in charge of imports, but you don't want to make them an admin, please let us know. We're interested to understand like how many of your users would benefit from that. Can I import parts from multiple facilities in one file? Yes, you can. So as you saw, I had two entities listed. I was able to enter as much data as I wanted to for each of those entities, and I can, set up my inventory list for two entities in one shot. What file format do I need for imports? So our import tool, we do accept CSVs, Excel files. I think there's some other really technical files as well too. We also accept text files. You probably want to use CSV or Excel. It's just a lot easier than using like a markdown file or a text file. What if some of my rows have errors? Does the whole import fail? No, actually. So how the importer works is, as you saw, like I had one row that had an asset that didn't exist and it was saying error, please clean it up. But I didn't want to go back and like lose my progress and have to create the asset and then go back. So you can totally ignore all of the error rows. Um, when you click the submit button, it'll import everything that doesn't have an error row associated with it. You can also download the import that you're the sheet that you're importing. So if you are importing your data and then you get to the screen where you're changing numbers and changing data, you can actually download it from that part, and then you can have it kind of saved as a record in time so that you can keep editing it later and come back to it. You don't even have to use the import sheet. You can just use the spreadsheet that we have there and you can enter the values. Who can see transaction history on a part? So this one is actually when you're viewing parts, it's for anyone who has access to the inventory parts module. So your technicians will see it, your admins, limited admins, your view only users. The only users that don't see it are users that are requesters because they don't have access to the inventory and parts module. That's intentional. We just want to give visibility to your entire team on, what happened with that part. Permissions still apply for adding and editing. So if you're a technician, you can't, edit a part. Does reconciliation affect work orders that are already open? No, reconciliation doesn't do anything to, work orders that have parts already on them. It doesn't change their quantity. It just changes the system quantity on hand. So you can still complete the work order and consume the part as long as you have enough available to use. We're doing for time here, probably just a couple more. Is there a way to see all reconciliations across all parts, not just one part at a time? So that's a really awesome question. We don't have a standalone report right now to show you all manual reconciliations across your entire inventory. I think that's a really great idea. You know, if you have frequent parts reconciliation, you probably want to figure out what's going on. A report would be great for that. As of right now, we just have the transaction history for each part. But if you're somebody, you know, who might benefit from having that type of report, please let us know, and it's something that we can dive into further. Procedure attachments, what file types can I attach to my procedure? So it's just like across the entire system, things that you can attach for files, PDFs, PNGs, JPEG images. Um, you can attach all of those to the procedures. I know at the beginning there was a question about what file types can I upload for floor plans. Um, so for floor plans, you can upload image files, so PNGs, JPEG images. Regarding PDFs, we don't support uploading PDFs just because there's just some additional work behind it. But there's a very quick fix. You can quickly convert your PDF to a JPEG or PNG, and then you can upload it from there afterwards. If you have an issue with that, you can't get your floor plans in, please let us know. We can help you out really quickly and get you set up with your floor plans. Okay. There's more questions in here. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. Thank you, Mel, for answering them on the fly, and we will get to the rest of them after the webinar is over. We're going to move on to our poll here. So, quick questions for the team here today. Mel, you can put up the poll. First one is, are you interested in beta testing any upcoming features? Second one is, would you like your customer success manager to reach out to you regarding SSO for your company? Would you like to leave a G2 review and get a $35 gift card? And then the last one is, would you like to add more users or upgrade your subscription? We'll give a quick moment there for everybody to reply. And we'll see where we're at with that. Okay, I think we're good. And now we're at the end of the webinar. So again, thank you very much for spending time with us today. I put on these webinars every quarter because we have a lot of stuff that you know, we'd like to share with our customers. We also have monthly webinars that are more specific trainings on some of the modules. Mel does a really fantastic job of walking through our customers through that. So if you're interested with those, please stay in touch. We'll post updates about those monthly ones. If you're a current customer, again, data imports is live now. Parts reconciliation will be on probably about 15 minutes. I just have to log in and turn it on for everyone. If you have any questions, reach out to us. If you want to walk through, we can help you out with that as well too. If you're, you know, a prospect or looking at ClickMaint for the first time, if what you saw today resonates with your team needs, we'd love to set up a one-to-one demo tailored to your specific environment. Everyone who registered today will get a recording of the session along with links to our help center and release notes. Big thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Thank you.